saying suffering is more so like you're gonna have to go through something, right? Just like, and when you go through something, you're gonna hopefully you grow through it as well. But to have something that's happy, to have something that's a marriage as far as it's meant to be, like you're gonna have to go through something, right? Just oh like man, I can hear myself. You gonna
There's
hopefully
an echo.
Everybody.
as well.
Hey,
There she is. Something that's happy to have
How
something
are
that
you all?
congratulations. Marriage as far as first time I done seen you shit. Man, you look different.
Glowing, man. That's what love would do
Let's
to
get it. Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am. That's right.
I'm starting to feel out of place.
No, 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 no. See, you missed
Yes,
out on
yes,
you missed
yes,
out
yes.
on the Valentine's Day episode. So I was basically the oddball in the room.
How?
Well, because we had Melinda, of course she's married. We had Kervin on there, of course he's married, and then Josh is married. So I was like the oddball on there.
So she had to go get right. You feel me? She had to go put some pressure on some folks. On one folk. Like, listen, I'm the
Oh,
only one on
I
here.
didn't put pressure. I didn't put pressure.
Yes, man. I'm sure you ain't need to at the end of the
No,
day.
no pressure applied. Nah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I hear that we're live right now, y'all. I don't want to keep people waiting too long,
Yes,
talking about
yes,
all our
please don't.
personal business, all the great stuff that we be having going on. But once again, so it's another episode. This is our first live episode, right? First time doing this live, but same old crew, right?
Right.
Same old healing, same speaking with gravity. I'm looking forward to another great episode today. For those who are watching right now, if you haven't been watching before, definitely go back after this episode, after this live episode, and check out some of our past episodes. We're in season 10 now. That means there were 9 seasons before this one, right? So we want you to go back and just participate with us on this journey of healing. So once again, it's Speaking with Gravity. I am Joshua Williams, one third of the hosting crew for Speaking with Gravity. Yeah, I don't know what order we in, but y'all just
Let's
go
do the
with it.
usual order then.
Okay, I'm Joshua Williams.
Hey everybody, my name is Hannah Williams. I'm so excited to join you all virtually and thank you all for joining from the comforts of your house.
Hi, and I'm Terrence Dawkins. I am not engaged nor married like the rest of these folks. I just want to throw that out. Just saying.
So that's
Not yet.
that's
Not yet at
not
least.
yet exactly. And
Eyeball.
so today, y'all, we're gonna be talking about so we're gonna be talking about healing as your responsibility, and this is actually part two. So we had a conversation. I don't know if it was in season 8 or season 9, but we had a really great conversation. So after this, that's the first episode that y'all will definitely want to go back and listen to. Healing is your responsibility, part one. We're on part two right now. This is episode 87, episode 87, season 10. So we've been putting a lot of great work in, hopefully passing down a lot of wisdom and knowledge that you all can take and can share with the folks who you love. The whole goal is to advance education around mental health. So hopefully that's what we've been doing. um so like I mentioned, healing is your responsibility. And actually, healing is a deep personal journey, but it also has ripple effects on the people around us. Now, in episode 65, I think I have it right, episode 65, we kind of laid the foundation for exploring what healing means and why some people may resist it, and how it unfolds kind of in layers. It's not just a one, just a one layer thing. There are layers to this healing. We also discussed the fact that the fear for healing often comes with change, right? And the importance of breaking cycles of intergenerational trauma, something that my guy Terrence is an expert on. In this episode, we will kind of pick up where we left off at and dive a little deeper into the responsibility of healing and how to sustain the progress that you make on your healing journey, and how your growth can actually impact others around you. So I do think that it's important to kind of revisit really quickly, y'all, what is healing. And I want to point out there that this is not mental health advice that we're giving people, right? We're speaking from a place of experience, We have Terrence, we have Hannah with us. They've dealt in the realm of mental health. Myself, I don't work in mental health at all. I just kind of like to talk sometimes, and I like to listen even more though. I want to pose a question just really quickly to you, Terrence and Hannah, on what is healing? Just as a refresher, what is healing?
What is healing?
Yeah. What does healing look like? But for the average
Well,
person.
I guess I can start it off. Healing can, it doesn't have to be, but it can be something that it can be this difficult. It can, be rough at times because of, like you said, the fear, because of possible fear of judgment, the stigma surrounded around it. But I feel like healing begins with awareness. So we have to know
Mm,
exactly what exactly is it we're trying to heal from
mm,
in order to start that process. And then, really trying to figure out what steps you need to take to heal. If something that came to my mind just now is from my experience, a lot of things that people are trying to heal from comes from early life experiences.
okay.
So that could be with family members, other, friends, relationships, could come from, caregivers, but where well, I call it attachment bonds have been broken, where your sense of safety and security was not, well, you wanted to feel safe and secure, but you weren't. And then so there's attachment break there. And then that kind of determines how you view other people and view the world, right? And so that's where I guess some of this healing can, when we talk about healing, that's where it comes from. These broken attachment bonds that we have, and so we have to try to figure out how can we mend these attachment healing bonds, if that makes sense. But healing, and that's why sometimes it can be rough because it's hard to try to retrain the way that you learn to adapt to living situations from your early life experiences. But healing is ultimately, I wouldn't say overcoming, but adjusting to uh, early life experiences that might have impacted you negatively. That's my explanation. Long winded, but I know.
Yeah, I appreciate that explanation, and I just want to piggyback off of it some. When I think about healing, I heard you mention some of those early childhood experiences, but I also want to remind people that sometimes it may not only be limited to those early childhood experiences. Often, as adults or even elderly people can experience some form of trauma that can cause them to become off balance or imbalance, as we like to say. And so that imbalance in life, that makes you feel uneasy, that makes you, maybe your mentality is off, maybe your mental health is off. So that imbalance, coming back to that balance that you normally were at, that is the healing process. That is the healing journey. And that encompasses a lot. That can encompass reaching out to your community. That can look like going to therapy, as Terrence mentioned. That can look like, and I agree with that. It all starts with self-awareness first. So when I think about healing, I think about recovering, coming back to balance and restoring something that may have been lost.
I like that word balance. I like
Me too. Yeah.
balance, yes, because I feel like when we have, like you said, some type of rift or experience, whether it's childhood, adulthood, you become emotionally unbalanced. And then you gotta try to find back where it's like, hey, I'm okay, I can deal with this, I can cope with this, I can manage this. And sometimes that can be difficult, but I love that word balance that you put out there.
And Terrence, I was
Yeah.
just about to ask what are we balancing? Hannah brought it up. I was just about to ask what are we balancing, but I think you really hit on it. Balancing those emotions, those things that we're dealing with internally, right? And Hannah, you were about to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, and I just this conversation made me think about like how in the Black communities specifically, and maybe even in other communities, a lot of people take pride in not wearing their hurt. I don't look like what I've been through, or phrases similar to that. And even though I feel like that's a good thing that individuals may not always look like the experiences or the trauma they have been through, my question that I want to pose is, what does hurt look like?
Mm,
Oh, that's
I
oh
heard
God.
I heard Terrence mention self-awareness, but what does hurt look like?
oh my gosh.
Well, when you say that, uh, so a hurt. I'm gonna throw this out there. Hurt could look like a smile.
Okay.
What I mean by
Tell
that? What I
you
mean
gotta
by
tell
that?
us about
So
it. Tell us
hurt
about
could
it.
mean like a hurt could look like a smile because, like you said, people don't wear or may not wear their emotion,
Mhm.
right? So what do? They hide behind their smile. So it's kind of hard to really uh kind of hard to define what hurt looks like because it could look like someone's happy. It could look like they have everything put together, let everything going for themselves, but behind that mask that they're wearing is hurt. Or it could look like the more visible things we see, crying. It could look like isolation. It could look like anger. So it could look like all these different behaviors and emotions that we might define as, oh, that person's hurt, but it also could look like a smile because nobody really um, may want to show that they're hurting. And that can go to a whole nother conversation of why people don't show it. Well, I'm not gonna get into all that, but not yet.
Yeah.
We might, but not yet.
I
And,
I really I really enjoyed that response, and something I thought about when you answered that question is, from my experience, a lot of people dwell in not taking responsibility for their healing or not being self-aware and recognizing or identifying some of the issues they struggle in simply because they enjoy being in that space of hurt. They're so comfortable and used in being in that like I said, that space of hurt are those emotions that they have always experienced. Maybe it's abandonment during a child. You're always, you're used to being alone. So as an adult, it feels different or it feels awkward when you have a sense of community, maybe in college and everybody is close. Or even, maybe when you go to church and everybody is tight knit and family oriented and you feel like an outsider because you're always used to being alone. And so this topic is so intriguing to me because we can go a lot of different ways. This
yeah.
conversation can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and if I could, I wanted to add something to it. Just from my experiences, thinking about hurt and what it looks like. I think Terrence is definitely right. A lot of times, people don't wear their hurt externally. A lot of times they wear it internally, so you might not see it. Right? Could be something like a smile. But sometimes I feel like there are little things that you can see that you can pick up on. For instance, one that I thought of is sometimes when people are really impulsive about things. I know with me dealing with my hurt in the past, sometimes I would be impulsive because I wouldn't want to stop to think about certain things, right? Because if I think about my hurt enough, I'm gonna feel hurt in the moment, and then maybe I'll show it more, which I don't. You don't want nobody to see. You don't want nobody. You don't want to look like what you've been through sometimes, right? You don't want to be vulnerable. So escaping that vulnerability. I also think about just exhibiting like anxious behaviors. You have some people that really deal with anxiety, right? But then you have some people that I feel as though sometimes anxiety is a product or a result of avoiding like certain things, that avoiding their hurt, right, or things that they've been through. I also think about when people get really defensive. I don't know if you've been around people, and it could be something deeper going on there. A lot of times when people get defensive, or get on the defense, sometimes it's for a reason, right? Sometimes it's because they don't want to. Because they don't want to. I feel as though sometimes it's because they don't want people to dig a little deeper, right, or know too much about them, or or it could be. I think Terrence. I think you mentioned something really good, which was isolation, as well as when people like kind of sabotage things that they have going on, like that self sabotage. I have a great relationship going, but I feel as though it's a little too good for me. I gotta do. I need to mess it up, and of course I'm not thinking I need to mess it up, but maybe I need to like some of my old habits. Like I need to get back to some of those because because I don't know. Or I need to change this, and you end up sabotaging yourself. So I think that it can manifest itself, not necessarily that it'll be, and you can see it all the time, but it can manifest itself. I think
Yeah.
in different ways.
Yeah, yeah, and everything that you described were behaviors.
Behaviors.
So
Okay. Yeah.
behaviors, like you said, the whole self-sabotaging, the isolation, the it could look like comedy, right? So laughter, it could look like that.
Mm.
But all these different things, like you said, could look like emotions, but it also could look like behaviors. And that could be, like I said, it's a mask. And when we stop hiding behind our behaviors or hiding behind our emotions, that's, in my opinion, that's when the healing truly begins,
Yeah.
because you have to truly address what's head on, what's going on, instead of hiding behind whatever behavior, emotion that you have decide to cope with.
And I have a side note. I want to bring it even down home and get a little personal here. I remember before I started my before I started my Terrence, you are funny, man. Before I started my before I became serious about starting my healing process, my closest friends knew me to be like the comedian in our group. And
Mm.
I don't show that side to a lot of people. I usually show it to people I'm closest with. So my siblings, my family, my close friends, they know me to be super funny. Like the party, I light up the room. Well, I I always thought once I started processing things with my therapist, I was like, okay, maybe I am masking some pain by laughing.
Oh
Maybe
wow.
I am masking some pain by being funny and making other people laugh because, hey, I want somebody to make me laugh, and it wasn't happening. I was dwelling in that space of hurt and pain, like we talked about a little earlier. And one of my concerns during my healing process was, dang, am I going to lose my personality? Am I going to lose that sense of humor?
Yeah.
If I've always been like this, maybe as an effect of trauma, am I going to lose this? And the cool thing about healing is that it's a journey. Yeah, I was that version of Hannah before, and healing taught me how to become a better version of myself. So I didn't lose that substance. I didn't lose that spark of my personality. If anything, I learned how to manage it better because it wasn't coming from a place of hurt. It was literally coming from a place like, y'all, like this is how I feel right now. Like this is something funny right now. So I just wanted to share that little side note, about my experience when it came to healing.
Yeah, yeah, I think most definitely, man. And I think that's a lot of our experiences. I know I've been on a healing journey, and so it makes me think about too, Hannah. So is anyone actually healed?
I would like to say that you can heal from situations or experiences.
Right.
However, I don't believe that anyone is actually healed.
Hmm.
And I say that because we're always evolving and we're always going through new situations, new
Hmm.
experiences, and even more importantly, new relationships. We're constantly meeting different people, we're procreating and having children.
Procreating. I
We're
like
dating
that.
Big
people and
word.
now their family is introduced to us. So now we're forming other relationships. We're constantly evolving. Even when you think about work, you're constantly meeting new people, whether it's at a networking event, um, and so even if you have children, you're meeting their friends' parents. You're building relationships with that community. So in essence, we're constantly revolving. We're constantly going through new situations that may bring trauma, that may bring hurt, that may trigger old trauma. So I don't feel, in my opinion, that anyone is ever fully healed. We just
Hmm.
might heal from specific or certain experiences, so that we can, next time this situation happens to me, I know how to face it in a healthy way.
Hmm.
Like that. We heal from certain experiences or situations, but then due to relationships or um, where we are in our lives, we then experience new situations, which could cause, like you said, hurt. which now we have to learn how to manage this particular situation. And sometimes that might take some time, right? That's why I think I like the word journey, because yes, it can be a lot of ups and downs. It can, be stagnant at times, but it's a journey because
Mhm.
we always have different people enter our lives. We always in different roles. It could be a role of a friend, role of a wife, husband, parent, anything like that. But these different roles carry different experiences that could cause some type of hurt. Like you said, that reminds us of other experiences or just create
Yeah.
new negative experiences. So I like that.
And I,
Yeah.
I want to pull one of the Terrence numbers when he likes to bring up science and biology. Even when we heal from an experience we've been through and we fully process that, specifically professionally, process it, then our brain learns from that
Mm.
experience. Our brain grows, our emotions developed, our resilience even develops, so that when we face that situation again or a similar situation, our brain is already registered about how we're going to, deal with that situation again. So, that's Terrence Avenue. All the what I'm talking about, Terrence. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
all the
yeah.
chemical imbalances.
I'm gonna bring up a big word: neuroplasticity. That's what it's called. When your
Thank
brain
you.
has the ability to grow and change and learn new things, it's called neuroplasticity. You know.
That's why we got you on the show, man. We have missed you.
I'm back, baby.
You back with some new words.
I'm
If
back.
y'all at home, go ahead and write that word down and maybe look it up after.
And,
Yeah.
s- and listen, so for those who maybe just joining, again, everyone, or may have joined since we started. So everyone, this is like episode 87, I believe. This is the first live episode that we've had so far. And I think this is like our third or fourth season together. So, and so I think that I think it's big that this is our first like live showing, our live stream showing. You can check out a lot of our former episodes over on YouTube. But yeah, I also think it's important. Hannah and Terrence, can y'all real quick just tell, and we'll get back, but can y'all real quick just tell what you all do that's related to mental health, or kind of your experience with mental health really quickly, so folks will know who they're dealing with. Now, again, everyone, this is not mental health advice, but we are hearing from some folks that have some experience in it. So if y'all could just really quickly, and then we'll get back to it.
Yeah. First, I'd like to shout out Tiffany. How you doing, girl? Thank you for checking in. Hey, I would do my Josh like slow, low tone voice, trying to, little seductive voice. I'm waiting on him to do it. He ain't did it yet, but
I'm not gonna do
we still got some time.
it.
But shout out to Tiffany for checking in. Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany.
But as
Yeah.
far as me, I'm
Hey, Tiffany.
there you go. Hey, Tiffany. Um, I had Josh. What you asked me, man?
So basically, just want to know a little bit of your background as far as your background with mental
Oh,
health. Just want people to know, who they're dealing with.
yeah. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, licensed in North Carolina and South Carolina. I currently work in a higher education setting in the university's counseling center. I also have my own private practice entitled Missing Pieces Counseling Services. And my area of study is intergenerational trauma and how trauma is passed down from generation to generation. And recently, last year, I created what I call the Black Trauma Cards, which is an acronym for building language, awareness, connections, and knowledge. That's
Let's go.
what the word
Yeah.
Black means. And this year, I recently released my Black Trauma Journal. So it's actual journal. And then again, the acronym for that is building language, awareness, connections, and knowledge.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Miss
Yep.
Williams.
So I am Hannah Williams. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And my areas of practice is mental health, but specifically anxiety and depression. So I'm a certified rehabilitation counselor, which means that I specialize in working with all individuals that have disabilities, all types of disabilities. But my focus and my minor was mental health. So very passionate about clinical mental health, learning, how trauma impacts individuals and how it impacts the family unit and how we can heal as a community, and spread mental health awareness.
Awesome, awesome. So, two very credible people that we have hosting, speaking with Gravity right now. Um, and I said Miss Williams when I was referring to you, Hannah. She won't be Miss Williams for very long, y'all. Just throw that out there.
Well,
But
since she
my
wanted to
Dog
throw
it
that
off.
out there, when she was doing, she was talking, she was into it, she was doing hand motions. I seen that ring.
Don't
oh,
I
please
seen
don't ask
it.
me to show it. Please don't ask me to show
yeah,
Show
let me
it.
show it.
Dang.
Ah!
All right. All right.
Y'all, I wish we had this in person though. Like it's fun, but I wish we had this in person. I know y'all would be like crazy in person.
I
You know,
love it.
We'll
I love it.
celebrate. We'll celebrate next time we reunite.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
get ready for another episode. So, so myself, I'm not in mental health at all. The closest I got to mental health was majoring in psychology in college. I don't do nothing with psychology right now. When I first came out of college, I was in career counseling. From then on, nothing at all with psychology. I'm in business. I'm in workforce and economic development. So, totally off topic, right? But I did want everyone to know who we were, right? If this is their first time checking us out. But want to get back to it. I think what we kind of left off at was Hannah, you were talking about that healing journey, which is so important. And one thing that I did want to bring up, you kind of alluded to it, was that sometimes things come up on your healing journey, and it's like what you want to be careful about is you want to give yourself some grace and some gratitude for how far you've come, and you want to give yourself grace in the sense of allowing yourself to mess up something, not intentionally, right? Messing up intentionally, that's not messing up. That's not a mistake. But we make mistakes along the way. We can even get out of character sometimes, unfortunately, along the way. But giving ourselves grace means that we allow for it, we recognize it, and then we do things to we commit to ourselves at least that this is not something that's a part of me. This is not something that I plan on repeating at all. And so everything is not going to be perfect, right? And so we have to continue to tell ourselves that it's definitely on our mental health, on our mental health journeys. Um, yeah, and another thing that I thought of, y'all. One thing that I think is important on our mental health journeys, and I think we kind of hit on it a little bit, um, is those support systems. I don't know. Did we hit on that? I think we hit on it last
I think we
episode. I
did
think.
last time.
Yeah, last time. But yeah. As far as people that are supporting you, right? What I think about is, what if I don't really have? What if those supports aren't there? Then what am I doing to help myself to heal? Right? Are there strategies? Are there practices? Are there habits that I should put in place to help myself heal? One thing I think about is just being thoughtful enough, right, to think about. Um, to just get by myself and kind of be intentional about um thinking about where I am right now and what's kind of led to some of the things that I'm dealing with. But just want to ask y'all, as far as if I don't have anybody that's there with me sharing the journey, what are some practices that you all think are helpful?
I just off the top of my head, I think that that's why it's so important to get professional help.
Okay.
Especially if you do experience a diagnosed mental health issue. It's very important to seek professional help. And I say that because that professional knows how to create a treatment plan that's specific for the situation or the symptoms or the behaviors that you experience as a person, because they can be mild, they could be moderate, or they could be very severe.
Mm,
And maybe on the severe side, you may need medication. However, on the mild or moderate side, you may need to journal weekly. You may need to exercise often. You may need to join a support group. So, a professional will cater to your individualized needs. However, just off the top of my head, I want to say that if you don't have a community, or even if you have a community and you don't trust your community, it's good to have that professional support, because they're always, or should be, or sometimes I'll say, a call away.
Mm,
They're a one session away, or they're one email away. And so when you feel like you may be hitting rock bottom, or you feel like you're, about to do something that you may regret, your therapist or your counselor is simply one conversation away, so that you can process that decision, process that behavior, hopefully before you do it, or even if a behavior has already been done, you can process the aftermath to understand. So I would say that it's very important to have professional help, because they can become a sense of maybe not necessarily community, but direct support.
mm. Awesome, awesome.
And also they can bridge that gap between you and a community. I know my therapist, I was going through a specific situation that none of my friends could relate to. They haven't been through that type of experience. And my therapist suggested that I go on Facebook and look at different support groups that may be dealing with the same situation that I was dealing with, which was an ill family member. And so, I can't talk to my friends and get, support, because they haven't been in that situation. They can support me in some ways, but directly in the ways that I need it, they just can't. And that's understandable. I shouldn't expect them to do that. However, I could get more individualized support, I'll say, by joining a support group with other people that have experienced or was experiencing the same situation as I was. So a professional can bridge that gap. So that's why it's so important to get connected with a professional.
Yeah, I think that's one of the scariest things is feeling alone in what you're going to and what you're going through. That's like one of those things. Yeah. But again, it is like your responsibility, right? That's the title of this episode, right? People may not always point out that, the fact that, they think that, hey, maybe you should see someone or maybe you should work on this. It's up to you to be introspective, right? And be kind of looking out for some of those behaviors that we were talking about earlier. And asking yourself why, why do I do, why am I behaving in this way? Why am I lashing out, right? Is there something that I'm missing here? So ultimately, healing is your responsibility.
And I think that's why ownership is so important. I know earlier
Ownership.
Terrence mentioned self-awareness. You can be self-aware, but are you taking ownership of what doesn't look good? Are you taking
Mm,
ownership of what you have done that looks extremely ugly? Are you taking ownership of those negative behaviors, or even those negative emotions, or even words, your choice of words? Are you taking ownership of those behaviors that you're not proud of, or may be a reflection of trauma you've been through?
yeah,
Because you can be self-aware, but until you take ownership and make the commitment to change, you're stuck at step one, which is, I know I'm in the wrong. And,
Preach.
and that
and
that step is where a lot of people get stuck at.
yeah, and Terrence, if you can give us your famous quote, man. If you bleed in
Oh,
on people, I'm sorry, that sounds crazy, but Terrence, what's your? I don't wanna mess
Yeah,
it up,
please
man. Go
remind me
ahead, go
about
ahead.
this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
if
Terrence. Come
you
on,
don't heal what has cut you,
come
you
on.
will bleed on those who have not hurt you.
All
Hmm.
right, and break it down for us. Break it down for us real quick. Break it down.
So kind of like how, like if I have some type of we call it emotional wound, whether that's abandonment, whether
Emotional
that's
wound. Yeah.
that's a good one. So abandonment. If I don't heal that particular wound or work towards healing that, then when I get into friendships or relationships, and I feel like that person might be abandoning me, maybe they don't respond to my text messages, maybe they say they're gonna do something, but then something comes up, and then I feel that abandonment wound again. I might
Mm,
respond behaviorally to that. And that could be, through what I say, that could be through what I do. And now that person is taking on the aftermath of something that they didn't even contribute to.
Listen,
So if you do not heal what has hurt you, you will what has cut you, you will bleed on those who have not hurt you. Bars.
bars.
Drops, Mike.
Yeah, man, because man, a lot of times I see people like going off of about little things, and I think about, man, is there something deeper there? Or even like when I'm really hurt by something, and I can tell that the other person didn't even mean it. It might be something deeper there that I haven't
Mhm.
dealt with properly, right? And it's just so important, man, that we and I think it's important also to say, so you mentioned that when you don't heal what's cut you, you bleed on everyone. What happens when you have healed what has cut you? Then what is the effect or the impact that has on the people that are around you? If you're not bleeding on them, then what does that impact? What does that effect look like?
I feel like if you've healed from something, right, and then let's say again they do some type of action, behavior, say something that might, you know, uh, have some type of emotional response from you or behavioral response from you, right? If they, you will then again, I'm aware of what's going on. Oh, this person did this, and I'm feeling this way about it, and then I accept that I have a choice. Like I said, except I have a choice of how I respond. And now I respond with saying something like, because one thing that I try to teach my clients is how to communicate what they're feeling. So one thing that people might do is, and this is can cause a person to get defensive. They'll say, "You did X, Y, Z." Oh, wait a minute, what? I did what? And that now that person, you kind of attacking that person because you said you did this.
Mm-hmm.
But what you probably could say is, I'm feeling hurt because I feel like you didn't want to spend time with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did I just do in that communication there?
Put it
I
on you.
put how I felt at the beginning because that's what I feel, and that's pretty much the focus is I felt this because of this action.
Right.
Now, what you include after that is what I need. So you say how you feel, why, and what you need. I feel hurt or I felt abandoned when you didn't respond to my text message. If something's going on, can you just communicate with me a little bit better? So that's a little bit about what I need. Now that person can now understand how you felt and what you need, and now it's up to that person on if they're willing to give that to you. But it has nothing to do with you. That's that person's choice. So that's why I was like, healing is your responsibility. You have a responsibility to be aware of how you're feeling and and your responsibility to communicate your emotions effectively and then communicate what you need, but it's not your responsibility to dictate how someone responds to you. I think that's what we get
Mm-hmm.
tripped up a lot. we we
Yeah.
want we want them to respond a certain way and we might not get that, and then sometimes we might try to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we get the proper response that we feel like we want or need, but we might not get it and then we become more upset. But your only responsibility that you have, the only thing that you can control is how you communicate, how you feel, what you need, and the situation that may be contributing to those emotions.
I want to say we probably got like what about 10 more minutes? I'd say well, maybe like 10 more minutes. It's 7:45 Eastern time. Um, unless
Oh,
I get
Eastern
up.
time. Well, he put the time zone in there. That's what I'm talking
Man,
about.
y'all
Might
know
be
we got
we might
folk.
have
Y'all know
people
we
joining
got
us
folk
from the
in.
West.
Yeah,
We got
Eastern
folk in
time.
Hawaii and everywhere else listening to y'all,
The
y'all
world,
beautiful people
baby.
right now. So
And I
Top
wanted
so
to
fighting
yeah,
city of
we
the
gotta point
world.
that out. Yeah,
I wanted to piggyback off
yeah.
of
Please, yeah.
what Terrence said, and also just to answer your question. Also, so when I think about when people do heal from that cut, what's the
Mm,
aftermath or what's the effect? Um, I like to think that healing is for you.
right.
It can positively impact other people, but essentially it is for you. And one thing that I like about when you make the commitment to heal and you make healing your responsibility is that that comes with better decision making. So I'll use an example that Terrence used. If your spouse does something that you don't like, now you're able to make the decision. Am I going to create a toxic argument from this? Or am I going to be healthy and express to my partner how they make me feel, why, and what I need in this moment? And you know what that does? That creates change.
Yeah. Yes, it
Which
does.
which is why we choose to heal in the first place, because we don't like the situation we're in before. So what do we want to do? We want to change it. We want to
Yes,
get
ma'am.
outside of that uncomfortable zone, that what am I trying to say? That feeling of trauma or those uneasy feelings, and we want change. So sometimes once that wound is healed, it's just for us.
Man, let me say, so I totally agree, Hannah. And what you said, kind of the way I think about it is you put yourself in a position to empower others when you empower yourself, right? So you got to focus on yourself first. Healing is your responsibility. But when you heal and you got whoever it is, a friend, a spouse, the person at work, right? That's, that sees you respond in a certain way, right? That sees you not respond, based on the things that
Lash
you've been
out.
through, right? Yeah, based on lashing out in those behaviors. When they see you respond in a healthy way, because you've been empowered, a lot of times that can empower them, right? Because they see that. To be honest, we see each other exhibiting these negative behaviors all the time. And when I see you exhibiting those behaviors, when my kids see me exhibiting those behaviors, then they're more likely to respond in those ways as well. So
Yeah.
if you're the type, if you're the person that, you've gone through something and you've gone through the suffering of healing, right? Because healing can be, there's some suffering involved, right? You either gonna suffer by not doing nothing, or you're gonna be suffer by getting better a lot of times. And so if you've gone through that, then you have to continue to be the model, right, of healing, right? So when I'm in those situations, how am I to responding? Because that's going to teach others how to respond as well, I think.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
what not healing does is similar to what you just said, Josh. Josh, it creates an understanding to other people around us that this behavior is okay, this behavior is acceptable, and we
Mm.
know that children, are easily influenced. So that's how intergenerational trauma begins. Is that my mama always did this. So now I always do this. And now my children always do this. And it's just a generation of not healing, not changing until the black sheep comes along and says, I want change. I want to do something differently. I'm going to take initiative. And we love audience interaction. Adrian said taking ownership can feel uncomfortable sometimes, but it is huge. It is a major
Okay,
step,
Adrian, I hear
not
you.
only a step, but I want to say an accomplishment in
Yeah.
your life when you decide to take ownership of your actions, of your behaviors, and want better for yourself. So healing is your responsibility.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Um, I was kind of thinking about what else comes to mind. Anything else just on the top of mind for you guys? I say we probably have about 5 minutes. Don't want to wear people out too much. But anything
Well,
that's on top of mind for you all?
one question that comes to mind is we talked about community, and I even want the audience, you all can put your thoughts into the chat if you want, but how do you feel like you should communicate to someone that they need to heal? If you
Mm.
see a negative behavior, or if you see somebody or observe I'll say a behavior in someone, and you want to address them, you want to confront them, how do you do that in an effective and empathetic way? How do you let someone know that they need that they're a mess right now and they need to heal? Or do you?
And so is that for the audience?
It's for everybody.
Oh, I speak on that. This is another skill I teach. So um,
Come
I
on,
like to tell
professor.
people that you need to, like, if I'm to address someone, I'm just going to simply tell them what I have noticed. People like to be seen. They like to be seen, heard, and understood.
Mm.
So if you can show that you see them, that you, if they're talking, that you hear them, and number one that you understand to the best of your ability, then they feel like, oh, okay, I can feel a little comfortable. I don't feel attacked, right? I feel more open. But this is what I tell them. I notice that um, you've been withdrawn lately. I just want to check and make sure you're okay. What did that do? That just showed that you see a behavior out of them that is out of the ordinary, and that hey, I want to check on you. Or I noticed that when I said XYZ, this was your response.
Mm.
And now you're showing them again. I see this, what you're seeing your response. And I just want to make sure to see, check on you, see if everything's okay. Check and see if did I do something wrong or say something wrong that may have hurt you, so I can get some clarification. But I think just to simply answer your question, if you're want to address somebody and let them know that they need some healing, you start with what you are noticing about them. You don't want to, of course, to go to bed like you need to go talk to somebody. Like you could say that, but it's kind of like I
Need to go
noticed
talk to the
this.
lady.
Why do I need to talk to somebody? I ain't nothing. Well, let me tell you what I noticed,
Yeah.
and then go from there. I think.
Mhm.
And I think I love that, Terrence. I wasn't even thinking about that. I love that answer, man. And I think also spending quality time with people, because I feel like it creates trust. A lot of times, like we can say something to somebody, but if we haven't like been there, like with them, right, like really putting in time with them, to where they feel valued by us. If we haven't created that trust and that value up front, it comes out different when you do, when you create that trust and that value up front. Um, I feel like it just opens doors, for you to be able to get through a little better, and for it to come out
Yeah.
better. So I think that yeah, those are two things I think that we definitely would take into account. I got a question,
I
but
have another
I
one
want
to
you to
ask.
wrap up your. I want us to finish with yours though. Firsthand. I don't want to ask nothing on top of that.
Yeah, I just have one. Well, I just thought of something from, I know it was my question, but I just thought of something from you all's responses. And that's, I like Josh, how you said spend quality time with a person so that you know them. And then Terrence said, um, it, I just lost my train of thought, but basically, if you're going to confront somebody, you should do it in a way that they will receive it well. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is if you know that, your partner is not a morning person, don't address them first thing in the morning about something you have noticed that they are doing wrong. You
Unless
I'm
know?
you're
learning.
using the seductive Josh voice, baby.
That's what she did. That what Hannah did.
No, I said unless don't confront them in the morning unless you're doing that Josh seductive voice.
Man, that don't work. Listen, that don't work.
Not
Still
even
don't
with the
work.
morning person.
I'm just playing.
If
I'm
there
just
ain't
playing.
no more, yeah, I got you though.
But
I got you. I appreciate the credit though. That means that yeah, I appreciate, man. I appreciate y'all think highly of my
that's
voice,
funny.
boy. I have my wife about that, man.
I'm sorry. I
Is it
that
is
that
it
was my
real? Nah,
go
I
ahead, man. I'm
appreciate it,
sorry.
brother. I receive it as a compliment, but I'm sorry, Hannah. We
No,
let
it's
Terrence throw
okay.
us
I'm
off
over
just
here
now,
just
didn't we?
laughing at y'all.
We let Terrence throw us off just now, man.
We allow him to let us become imbalanced. That's what we allow him to do.
We should take ownership. We should take better ownership, man. It's our responsibility, man.
We need Curvin. We need Curvin as a referee at this point.
I'll be
Listen,
But
quiet.
man.
but no, seriously, when we're trying to confront someone, we should know the method, the time, even the
Yeah.
tone, the voice where we should confront them. I used an example earlier about not being a morning person, but also the method. Will this person prefer an in-person conversation, or will they receive this better through a text message and then let it be a follow-up conversation? So we should know the person. And I would even suggest don't confront people impulsively. Think about it. Think about your approach.
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know before
Yes.
you just take a dab at them, think about how you're going to confront someone. And even in my own relationship, this is something I've worked on as a therapist, as a counselor, is how do I confront my partner about something that I don't like?
Mm.
Because the outcome can make a world of difference just by confronting them the right way.
Know what
And
she
I,
talk about too, cause she got a ring. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. And I
Hold
want to
on
say
now, I'm not a
something.
marriage counselor.
And and I want to say something. So your voice, I don't think your voice, not you, Hannibal, just saying like to our audience, your voice and my voice isn't the answer for everyone. They may need to hear it from somebody else. We can go on and on trying to tell people whatever, and they may have every excuse in the world to not hear it from us. And then, and then also, some people, unfortunately, some people, I think some people enjoy their hurt. That's right. I think some people have grown attached to their hurt, and I think Terrence, earlier you mentioned attachment. I think some people get attached to their hurt to the point where they don't even see it. And so if you're the type of person that you're emotionally aware, you have that emotional awareness, emotional IQ. You have a a high emotional IQ, and you can see like this person, it might not be time for everybody, right? Or it might not be, it's not really my responsibility anyway, but it might not be, I might not be the person to get them there. I can still, drop little nuggets, right? To kind of help maybe stir something up at least, but I have to know that I can't necessarily change people.
Mhm.
So
Beautifully said.
listen, y'all, it's man, it's getting we're coming up on an hour. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I think this is a great part two. For those who haven't seen part one, please go back and check it out. Check out Speaking with Gravity on YouTube. Please follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. We may be on TikTok as well. We a little bit everywhere. So please check us out. For those who have been watching, please continue to watch.
Thank
As
you.
this Yeah, as this group grows, I think that that the this is this group being me, Hannah, and Terrence. I think that the quality and the content is continuing to hopefully it's accomplishing what it should for you all. So again, like we're happy to have you all with us today. This is our first live. Pretty sure that it won't be. But we're happy to have you all. We're looking forward to seeing you again soon. Remember, healing is not easy. It doesn't happen overnight, but it has to be your responsibility. It is your responsibility. As we continue to do the inner work, we contribute to a healthier and more emotionally aware society. Um, so let's keep the conversation going. Let's please connect with us as we mentioned on social media. And again, it's Speaking with Gravity. I'm Joshua.
You all have a good evening and thank you all for joining. I'm Hannah Williams.
Thank you all. I'm Terrence Dawkins. Appreciate you joining us for our first live, and it definitely won't be the last. And we'll see you soon.
Where can they find
You all
y'all
have
at
a good
again?
night.
Individually, where can they find y'all at real quick? Sorry.
Yep, you can find me, Hannah Elise on Instagram or Hannah Williams on Facebook.
You can find me at Terrence Dawkins on Facebook or Terrence_Dawkins on Instagram.
All right. And on Instagram, I'm at Joshua_be impactful. Have a great one, everyone.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.